Good morning. Yeah, I'm glad you're here tonight. How are you? Okay, welcome to Fireside Chat. A little bigger crowd than before, so thank you for all being here in person, as many of you as can be, and those watching in our studio audience at home. So we got this little hybrid model thing going on, and probably we'll do that for as long as it takes for people to get comfortable being in the space. But it's fun to be here. It's fun to see people's faces and to have a chance to kind of connect a little bit. I think we all appreciate that a little bit more. So as usual, we've got lots of stuff to share, and we want to get busy with that. So if you can put up the next slide here, we'll do a little intro. Okay, yeah, okay, we got this part so you can see we've got lots of things going on. Welcome, better say welcome, okay? Wait, got lots of things going on. One more slide? Yes, here we are, okay. Well, so a lot of you attended the master planning session the other day, and you saw lots of ideas and visions, and I want to emphasize we are showing vision, right? It doesn't mean that just because you didn't see a piece of art on a particular wall that we're now not going to have art on that wall. Or that you saw someone sitting in a chair on one of the pictures and said, hey, I don't recognize that person, they don't belong in Resonance. It's clip art. It's clip art. As we go through this, and we're going to have a process, and we're going to be meeting with Methuen this afternoon, do a little download on some feedback that we got, and then we're going to orchestrate a plan over time that has resident involvement to chime in about likes and dislikes. And your job is to kind of discern this, right? You're going to see some boards up that give you a chance to look at things more closely, get acclimated to what it looks like. And it's like most things. Sometimes your visceral reaction is, well, I don't like that, or I don't want that. And you ponder it. You ponder it for yourself and your own interest, but you also ponder it for the interest of others that might be coming into the community who might value and benefit something that maybe is not of immediate interest to you. So just be thoughtful and don't be angry or mad when you see something. Lots of things can change. There's a long process here. So now somebody had the nerve, get this, to ask about what it costs and it might affect monthly service fees. Do you think I didn't think about this? In fact, I did think about this. And sometimes I just love my ideas so much I can't stand it. So here's my first game plan. Everybody gets a bell and a red bucket. This is the time of year, and you get outside and you ring the bell. I mean, people know to put money in the bucket, so that'll help pay for it. Now, there's a lot of people, or I should say at least a few people, who do not want to spend the next 3 years out in the rain ringing a bell and putting money in the bucket. But I got another idea. So the other idea is we do the bake sale. Let's say it costs $10 million to do this. Probably going to cost more. And if you do banana breads at $2 a piece, then maybe like 11,000, banana breads. Everybody gets baking. I just see we do these two things, we pay for the work. Okay, well, seriously, I do want to address people's costs because it is concerning that, it's like, wait a minute, when you go into these big projects, how do you pay for them? So the way this works, and I think it's best, I don't want to say that monthly service fees are irrelevant to this process, but the way it works is that think back when you were in your home and you did a project of remodel. It was less about what you were going to take from your paycheck to pay for your remodel than it was a combination of what you had in savings and what you were able to borrow in order to make the thing work. So you've heard me say over many years that we do have a profit in this organization. I know we're a nonprofit, but that's more about the mission and tax strategy than it is a business strategy. So we make a margin, of 7-8% on our bottom line. Those dollars, not unlike the dollars you made when you were earning income, are used to pay the mortgage, to borrow more money to do the projects. So as we get farther into this, we're going to be using some of our own cash. We have north of $75 million of cash in the bank. We certainly have no intention of using all of that. So some portion of that, possibly some portion of borrowing, is what pays for master planning. Your monthly service fees don't go up because of these choices. They go up because of inflationary costs of what it takes to run Horizon House, and in order to make that 6, 7, whatever percent margin. So those increases happen every year. You experience them. We take it seriously. We do everything we can to keep our fees lower than our peers. We know that our peers are having some pretty big price hikes. We're doing everything we can, and we'll share this in our budget review later with Christy, not today, but we want to make sure we maintain it. Why? Because we want to keep a broad socioeconomic group here. So we don't want to put our margin on the back of residents. We have normal increases. We've got to deal with some inflationary things, but this type of project isn't going to change your monthly service fees. Our combination of what we have in the bank that we've accumulated over the years, coupled with our ability to borrow funds, some combination of those two things is what will drive our ability to cover the cost of our remodel. So I hope that alleviates people's fear that there's going to be some ginormous increase in monthly service fees to do these projects. What this means, though, for us organizationally, and all of us that work here think about this, is we need to run a smart organization. You don't waste a lot of money. You're very thoughtful about how you spend your money, your operating dollars or your capital dollars. And so far, so good. We wouldn't have $75 million plus in the bank if we didn't run a smart operation. We wouldn't have a good margin at the end of every year if we didn't run a smart business. So hopefully that addresses it. We don't know what the real cost is going to be. And we won't know that until designs are done and we've made commitments, we're doing this or we're not doing this. And it's like every other capital project. You start off with a vision, you start off with a grand plan, and then, budgetary considerations come into play and you have to moderate based on what you can afford from your cash in the bank and the debt you're willing to assume. You don't want to take too much risk. So we will have more conversation about that as things go on, but I want to alleviate the fear that somehow this is going to mean that everyone's going to have this big, ginormous increase in their monthly services. Sam, do you have a question? Okay. Hopefully that addresses it for now. There'll be more conversation as we march along. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to mention was that strategic planning is going to be coming up. This is where, normally we wouldn't mix the master planning and strategic planning together. These would be things that you would be doing at separate times in your life. But we're kind of colliding here because we're late on master planning and you can get some things off the dime, and strategic planning is relevant too. And they do come together. So when you see or listen to the conversation that I'll be sharing with you at the, probably closer to the end of November, you'll see how strategic planning and master planning have a connection to each other. And we'll be walking people through that. And that too will be something that we'll have lots of meetings on, lots of discussion, so that people can understand, get comfortable, and begin to see how this all comes together. So you just, it's a process, not an event. Okay, budget expectations, we are, wrapping up our budget. And let me tell you, this has been tough. From your own experience, whether it's going to the grocery store or it is buying something online or it is reading something online or in the newspaper, that inflation is here. It's made a big difference. We're seeing dramatic increases in our costs, and that's just kind of the way things are. And we're also going to do our very best to not push that unfairly and unreasonably to our residents. That's kind of our modus operandi. So hopefully when we are sharing that, you will feel that's exactly what's happening. We've been judicious in how we go about this, and we haven't overly burdened residents for these inflationary times. We don't know if this is transitory or not. There's been a lot of conversation about, hey, it's going to go away, it's going to go away. Well, I don't know anybody who gets a pay raise that says, when are you going to reduce my pay back to that other level? Nobody ever says that. So the one part that is not transitory is our wages. Supply costs, they might be high now because of supply chain issues or just plain shortages. Those will come back into line over time. But the labor wages will not. Those will be here to stay. And it's a mixed bag, right? You want your people to be paid well. You want them to feel this is a good place. So yeah, we want to do it. And we also know that ultimately it means that everything goes up in cost, and we got to find ways to cover it. And again, continue to operate a smart business so we don't push more of it on your backs than is fair and appropriate. So we'll talk more about that when we get that all approved by the board and we kind of lock it down. We can pretty much be assured that in 2022, costs are going to change again. We're going to set this budget, but I'll tell you, it's changed a lot, literally week by week, because new things come in that suggest that our assumptions, weren't stable, and we had to make some adjustments. And we'll probably be doing that a lot in next year. It's going to be a real transition year. Okay, now on to the fun stuff. So let's begin with, I think, who's next on our list here? I think Brian Foltz is going to talk to us about some safety stuff, another constant issue that we face, but Brian's our guy to talk about that. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Boy, Halloween really creeped up on us, I would say. So it shouldn't be a shocker that we're talking again about safety and security, because that's important for us. And so as a reminder for all the staff that I've been talking to, which we're excited, we'll be having an all-staff meeting in person coming up next month. We're very excited about that. We'll remind them as well. And you can jump to the next slide, is that a reminder for residents that bring your key card with you. When you come through the front door, we want you to use your key to come through the door rather than staff by default just pushing the button and letting you in. And so if you don't have your key, There's an intercom out there with a camera that you engage with the staff and remind them, oops, I forgot my key. And so this is something that we have on the exterior door and the inner door of our main lobby vestibule that we installed some time ago. And it was an expectation when we installed it, and certainly sometimes complacency can happen, whereas this customer driven, wanting to help our residents come through the door, we just let you folks in. However, as a reminder, please help us in that area by just bringing your key and putting your key in that exterior door. And as a reminder, when you put your key in that Onity lock, it turns on the motion sensor so the door won't open until you start approaching the glass doors. It won't just automatically pop the doors open. What it's doing is turning on the motion sensor so that now when you approach the door, it will open those doors. Also be very much aware as when you're exiting or coming in, if somebody's following you in, or as you're exiting, if somebody comes scooting in. And if you see that, certainly let our front desk staff know as soon as possible. And for those of us that drive, we're reminding the staff as well that we ask that you take time before you pull away with your vehicle, be it down to go park, or when you are going for your excursion, to try to wait and see that unwanted person doesn't walk in to the garages. And if they do, most of us have a cell phone, just put the car in park and call the front desk. So all of our doors are secured. Your key is required to get in through all those doors. And so the reason I mention this is that on Saturday, just last Saturday, we had 2 individuals come into our building. They followed somebody in through the front door, and within 8 minutes, they stole a vehicle out of our university garage. Our university garage door was closed. This individual drove through the garage door. So it was extremely bold. We have never had that happen. And it took there were 2 individuals, and it took them 7 minutes to get in a car, and by the 8th minute, they drove out the door. The valets did a valiant job. They noticed and tried to stop them. The reception staff had noticed they came in, were looking on the cameras, on the radios, trying to understand what was going on. But it took that long for somebody to follow a person through the front door, got into the garage and stole the car. It was a caregiver's vehicle. We're evaluating our practices in the garage, reminding the reception center to be more aware. And what I just described that I'm asking you to do, so that if the staff don't necessarily open the door while you're waving, you know who I am. They may open the door if they recognize you, but by default, we're asking that you bring your key to help us with that safety precaution that we have at our main entrance. It's Seattle nowadays. Some of these folks are getting pretty bold, unfortunately. So I have a room full of safety and security helpers. So if you see something that looks out of the normal, let the reception center know. They have 2-way radios to the rest of the team that has radios, and they get a hold of me immediately. So this isn't to frighten you. It's to be factual that we have to just be careful. And there are individuals that are going to do something that we never thought would happen, that somebody would actually drive through a garage door. So, so that's what happened on Saturday. We have steps that we put into place and precautions that we take. We still believe this is a safe community, and this is extremely rare that it happened, but it did. And it's a reminder for us to be on our toes. So with that, I'm going to turn the next agenda item over to Erica, who's Erica Campbell, very scholarly individual, very educated person who's going to come and talk to us. Erica.
Thank you, class. So I'm very excited with a wonderful project that I found, and I want to introduce my co-conspirator, Margaret Rothschild. This is wonderful. Margaret, I brought a project, let's get my breath. Okay, we wanted to introduce to you a project that has been known around for people with sensory deprivation issues and is really good for people with sensory decline and end-stage dementia, which is known as Fidget Blankets or Fidget Quilts. And there's a slide that you will see in here that has a picture of one. It is not Margaret's work, but it's a better Etsy picture than I can take of Margaret's work. So you're looking at a picture here. This is not Margaret's, but it's a better picture, but Margaret's are much better quality. Anyway, the idea of a fidget quilt or fidget blanket is for people who are really at the end stage of their process in dementia. And they tend to have a lot of needs for tactile stimulation. They need to do something. Oftentimes with their boredom leads to really negative behaviors. Could be picking at skin, pulling hair, disrobing. And so oftentimes a tactile stimulation can keep them occupied in a safe manner. So I brought some samples to Margaret, who I heard had a gift. And so this is one right here that I showed her. It is a little hand mop, kind of cheesy. It has a bunch of little different kinds of materials on it. So you can feel it on the outside. On the inside, as a little sumo wrestler, real squeezing onto the squeezy action. You put your hands in there. So this is an example of a fidget item that you can use. I have no crafting skills, but I'm really good with a hot glue gun. And so I used to make these with full-on aprons from Amazon, just gluing items, tchotchke, big buttons, pieces of material, different textures of fabric, keychains, doodads, things like that. And so I showed some samples to Margaret, and Margaret walked away and came back with things that made my jaw drop on the floor. So I'm going to turn this over to Margaret to show us what she has done.
Okay. Well, whoa. Outside.
You can take your mask.
Oh, thank you so much. I grabbed the challenge. I wanted something different to do. And I love creative, and most of you know I do a lot of quilts. So this was just up my alley, and I had done occupational therapy years and years ago, so I had an idea. But one of the big things in these, it's not only what you put on, it's how you put it on. It's how you put it on. Within 6 months, these might be finished and ruined because the people will be pulling, they'll be squeezing, they will be hugging, and these are all things to calm them in a way that not just calm them. And also they're wonderful for a family member or the caregiver to show them, well, shall we name him Joan, or whatever, bring back memories, reminiscent. So another one, this is, I believe, will be going to a lady, who knows. And then, you want to hold up this? Sure thing. This is Seattle. Walk down memory lane from the football stadium, Pike Street Market, beads, a little worry beads. This has lavender in it, but it's satin, taffeta. And then this is knobbly. And then actually this is Seattle Rep, Memories of Theater. So I'm trying to make these all from found objects. As you can see, there's, well, on this one, these little motel things are wonderful. I clean them out, make a hole punch, and very, very securely put them on. And you can, there's that little noise, as well as holding. So it's been a lovely creative time for me. There's one request I have from all of those of you who have hearing aids with batteries. There are these little battery things. when you've used your batteries, don't throw this away. Please put it in one V, my cubby, and you will find them outside. I've used some, and on the flat, somebody can just move it round and round, and it's very calm. It's just a fun thing to have, something going around on a flat surface. So thank you. And when you leave, some of you have seen them before coming in, but I have, I think, 10 out there. So that's the project that I'm very involved with. And I hope in the new year to include more sewers so we can have a steady flow. Thank you.
Right. Our intention is to have one of these made for everybody in memory care. And our ask is that we really want to specialize it for the resident in memory care. So we'd like care partners to help us with found objects that are special to that particular person. We're going to be working with Rayanne and her team to make them very individual for that person. So it becomes a memory quilt, a really conversation piece. And we hope to build on this too. So be thinking about this as another unique project that Horizon House can do for the community. Thank you. Oh, and Ryan, I've just blanked on your last name, Ryan, but our new wellness guy, Ryan, come on up. Yay.
We're wondering I didn't know where he was.
Ryan, welcome.
I debated on not coming fully dressed up. What's the fun in that? Put my team down here. We have a dual purpose mask. Doesn't stop, I know. I love that you guys love Halloween. Obviously. My last place I would dress up, but wouldn't really get full into it. So I know I have to apply my makeup a couple times today, but it's gonna be worth it. Just a quick notes, couple things real fast. So we finally have our new fitness specialist in. She'll be presenting herself right after I speak. So with the new specialist coming in means that we're gonna have more options for more classes soon. So we already have a couple of things starting next week. The first thing we're gonna be doing is increasing our assisted living classes. We did only have it at 3 days a week. Now we're up to 5. We're going to be Monday through Friday at 1:30. And for those AO residents, they are just brought to that area. They don't need to sign up or anything. And then for independent living, I'm going to start teaching a posture and balance class starting next week. It sounded like it may be a fan favorite for some people. It's something I used to teach in my last work, and I'm going to divert from it a little bit here and try to make it more intricate and make it a little more complicated, maybe even have some homework in it. But with us getting a new specialist in, what we're going to kind of do for the rest of the year is really try a whole bunch of different classes. So Deborah, who will come up here in a little bit and talk about herself, has an amazing background, amazing experience in everything. I don't want to spoil anything there. But so the rest of the year, we'll be kind of trying out some new classes, seeing what fits. We want your input too when we build the schedule. And then once we get to 2022, we'll have this new reoccurring schedule that'll start right at the new year. I even have this room booked for January 3rd of a fitness rollout for us to go through a couple things. And then also starting next week, Brian will have his ongoing 6-month course for Tai Chi, his Tai Chi Quan Moving for Better Balance. Our times are, we have the signups below, but we have for Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 to 10 a.m., Monday and Wednesday, 11 a.m. to noon, and Tuesday and Thursday, 3 to 4. But that is a 6-month course. So you'll be building upon what you learn from each class. So that'll start next week as well. And then we'll have more classes coming from then. And before I exit the stage, I have a joke. Are you ready? Why did the skeleton start a fight? He had a bone to pick. Yeah. And I do have a few more skeleton jokes, but you wouldn't find them too humorous. Wow. Okay. That's the response I wanted to. I love puns. Without that, I will bring up Deborah. Deborah's our new fitness specialist. She is coming up. right now and talk about herself for just a couple minutes as I carefully put my face back on.
Layers,
Layers.
layers.
You can take it down the stage.
Hi. So I am Deborah, and I used to just work down the street from you all at the YMCA, and I have been there since 2014. I'm a transplant from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If there are any Phillies fans, Eagle fans, yes, Philadelphia Flyers. All right, don't worry. I love my teams out here very much. So even when they compete against Philly, I still root for us out here. So my background, I come to you as a dancer first. That has been my passion since the age of 20. And I danced around here. I had my own company for a while. I am a certified dance for Parkinson's teacher. And it got me into the YMCA downtown because I needed a place to rehearse when I lost my studio space. And then I was welcomed into the world of fitness. So my background has expanded. So it does include dance. It does include Zumba and folk dancing, but I'm also a yoga teacher. I also I can teach classes, core conditioning, strength conditioning, enhanced fitness. So my background is pretty broad, as Ryan said, and I'm really excited to be working in one place instead of like 5 different jobs. So one place and to be in a community of people that I'm really going to get to know. I'm going to learn who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you excited, what's like, no, it's not for me kind of thing. So thank you all for all the people that I've met so far have been very welcoming and very excited. So I am thrilled to be here, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you personally. Thank you. I don't know if I have to pass it on to somebody. Priscilla is next, I think. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Priscilla. I'm an occupational therapist, and I joined Horizon House back in June of this year. I'm here to hopefully help everybody get a general idea of what occupational therapy is and how it can possibly be relevant to the residents that live here. Okay. So occupational therapy is a healthcare profession that helps people throughout the lifespan to participate in the activities that they want and need to do. It's kind of broad. So if you think about everything that you're going to do from the time that you wake up today to the time that you go to bed, those are your everyday activities, and that's what we call occupations. So it can apply to you even if you're retired. I know the name is misleading. Next slide, please. So to me, the main goal of occupational therapy at Horizon House is to help the residents age in place and maintain a good quality of life. I know that most people want to stay independent for as long as possible and continue living in their own homes. So I would say that's the goal. Some examples of how that can be achieved would be working with you on home safety, so safety in your home, modifying your environment to prevent falls, or developing strategies to continue to do activities as you age. For example, if you have a lower energy level, or your vision changes, or your hands don't work as well as they used to. Also, working with you to help manage any chronic medical conditions. You may have a lot of instructions or recommendations from your physician on how to manage your conditions, but it's not always easy to actually follow through on those for various reasons. And also adjusting to life transitions. So that is referring to maybe a recent move from your home to Horizon House, or maybe losing your spouse or retirement. I wanted to use one case as an example, and I've been, actually, can I go back one slide? I've been working with one resident since about June, and we have pretty much touched on all of these topics. We started off with modifying the resident's apartment a little bit so that we removed any hazards to prevent falls. Because their apartment still looks, in general, the same, so don't feel like I'm going to completely revamp your home. We've also worked on developing strategies so that the residents can continue to do all of their work projects, leisure projects, social engagements that they want to participate in, even though they don't have as much energy as they used to. In terms of chronic medical conditions, they've had low back pain on and off, so we're working on helping them to incorporate their home exercise program in a way that they actually feel like they have time to do the exercises to keep the pain at bay and also to keep their balance. And also adjusting to life transitions. Their spouse recently passed away, so they're working on dealing with changes in their routine related to that. Next slide, please. I just wanted to touch on this topic briefly. I'm also trained in a program called LSVT-Big, which is an evidence-based treatment for helping people with Parkinson's to relearn how to move more normally. So if you have been diagnosed with Parkinson's or any related condition, you can talk to your neurologist to see if they think that might be appropriate for you. And then if you feel like any of this is relevant to you, what you would do to have occupational therapy is speak with your doctor. If they are on board with it, they can give you a referral to occupational therapy, which you can bring to the clinic in B1. We'll verify your insurance, and then once we've done that, set up an appointment with you. And next slide is how you can reach me in the clinic on B1. And you can also email me or come see me with any questions. I think next is Jeff with food service updates. Thank you.
All right, welcome everyone. How are we doing today? I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, needless to say, it's been a challenging month for us in food services. But like I always like to start off with a couple of good pictures of some of the events we had go on this past month. As we know, we've been doing these walkthrough buffets every night. They've been pretty popular, and everybody's been enjoying it, having a good time. A couple to focus on, a couple Tuesdays ago was Oktoberfest. We had about 180 people come down that day. At the start of dinner at 5 o'clock, the line was from the host stand all the way down to the central elevators. Never seen anything like that. However, with our new tablet system and the buffet line, we were able to move everybody through pretty quickly, and everybody had a real good time. So look for more events like this in the future, as we try to do these every month. Next one we had was the Healthy Choice Buffet. And we did this maybe 4 or 5 months ago at lunchtime, and it was really popular. So we decided to do it at dinner. And once again, we had about 125, 130 people come down through that. We learned a lot from this one. We didn't have any meat options, no fish or anything like that. It was all vegetarian. And so we learned that we probably won't do that again. So we will be doing these Healthy Choice Buffets moving forward, maybe quarterly or monthly, something like that. But we will make sure we have fish or something similar like that moving forward. But still, 130 people, no meat options. I think that's a pretty successful night. But really, to kind of go on to the next slide, Lacey, to really talk about what we're dealing with, I thought I'd throw some numbers out. As we know, we're all facing these labor shortages and product shortages, and the And so the reason for these buffets is because of our short staff that we're dealing with right now. So the numbers I thought I'd put out, currently we have 5 servers, and 3 of them are part-time only. So that means we have 2 of them working 5 days a week, and the other 3 are here 2 to 3 days a week. Last week, and the numbers have changed a little bit from this, but last week, or going into this week, and I've had 64 resumes come to me from our recruiters at Morrison. I've invited 49 of those 64 people for interviews. And with those invites, I've set up 12 interviews. And with those interviews, 10 of those didn't show up for the interview. I hired 5 of them. However, all of them were unvaccinated. And 3 of them have decided to not want to be vaccinated. So we've had to move on from them. And the other 2 are in the process of getting their vaccine. So it's just going to be a little bit of time before we can get them started. But that still leaves us pretty short on the server end of things. So, you know, as popular and successful as the walkthrough buffets have been, you know, we recognize that we don't want to do this moving forward every night, and that we want to get back to the sit-down dining as soon as possible. So we're working on that. It's just taking a lot longer. I don't know the exact reason why this is happening. I feel like, you know, people are still just collecting their unemployment, and you have to do job searches to do that. And so that's what they're kind of using that for. We've also, for about a month and a half, we had a pretty aggressive sign-on bonus out there for new people to come on, up to $2,500 to sign on, and that didn't really move the needle all that much. So, but with that being said, we're not giving up. We're still working hard. You know, last time we had some questions about Morrison's doing to help us with all these issues, and our recruiters with Morrison have been, you know, working really hard, getting our recs in the right areas. And like I said, they've sent me 64 resumes, you know, and they continue to do so. So we're going to keep plugging away. Like I said, I have some people hired. So, you know, in the next couple of weeks, you'll start seeing a few new faces. And hopefully, you know, by the end of the year or by the end of the next several weeks, we can get up to more fully staffed and at least start having some sit-down dinners in the dining room. With that being said, lunches have been pretty popular. We have been doing the sit-down lunch. That hasn't changed. And like yesterday, we had over 50 people in the dining room at lunch. That was really, really nice. It's good seeing the dining room filled up and vibrant at lunchtime. So in the back of the house, we've still need 3 cooks. We just had a new person we hired, which is good, but we still have need for a few more in that area. And the one good news is that the diet aides are now fully staffed. So we've hired 2 new diet aides the last week, and Shayla's team is getting a lot better up there. So that's some good news on that front. I think that's all for the slides. I did want to just touch on one thing real quick. We were still kind of finalizing it last night, but a lot of people have been asking about Thanksgiving. So you'll see some information come out about Thanksgiving in the menu packet today. But just to kind of give you a heads up, so obviously on Thursday the 25th, we're going to do 12 to 3 for a sit-down dining in the dining room. It will be the buffet style, but we will require reservations for that. You know, a lot of people are going to be bringing family and stuff. And so we'll be doing kind of a reservation event, and that's going to be on Wednesday, November 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the host stand in the terrace dining room. And that's when we'll ask all of you to come down, and we'll have a reservation sheet and tables. We'll let you pick what tables you want, get you down for the times, and we'll have everything set up for Thanksgiving dinner. We will allow pickup orders as well that day. We are going to have those be between 2 and 3, so we can make sure we get everybody taken care of in the dining room. And if we could get, you know, kind of a heads up RSVP on if you are picking up, just so Steve can have a good idea of how much food we need to have on hand. But look for a flyer in the next few days or week about with the menu and some more details on that. And like I said, in the menu packet today, you'll see some information on that. And also pie purchases. I know people like to buy the pies around Thanksgiving time, so we have some of those prices, and that'll be in there as well, kind of the details on how to purchase some pies for Thanksgiving. So I think that's all I got, and I think Ms. Hoover is up next. So thank you very much.
actually, this will be the last time you'll hear from me verbally. It's been a long haul for all of us, right? During this pandemic and sustaining good cheer, keeping up our chins and enduring all that we've had to do. However, despite these difficulties, we residents are generously contributing in thanks to our valued employees and keeping up their good work. And these workers come to our apartments for recurring maintenance needs and in response to our requests for service, always upbeat, anxious to please. And they greet us at the front desk with a smile in their eyes and a hello. And though very busy, they do their best to respond with courtesy and information, or they refer us to where we can get help. Currently, we, in response, are indicating our gratitude with contributions to our only fund aimed to recognize their service and goodwill, the Employee Recognition Fund. And your donations to the ERF will become our collective thanks to be distributed in gift donations and checks to the employees at the annual holiday party, which will be held on December 9, just for them. And every qualified employee will receive a check. The Employee Recognition Fundraiser is the only drive that is led by the Residents Council and has occurred annually since 1997. And only 2+ weeks are remaining in this short drive this year. So our check processing team is meeting twice a week just to process your donations. And if you are one who has drawn on your IRA and you have not received an acknowledgement, let us know, because it probably means that your name was not listed on the check. And we want to be sure that everyone gets an acknowledgement. Other details about contributing, of course, are included in the weekly alerts, and our administration has been so generous in posting it on HH Connect, HHTV, and aren't on those little electronic signs that they put out. It's just been wonderful. Really appreciate that. So with all of the council members already having contributed to this fund, we're asking you who haven't yet to join us in giving for this all important cause, because we're all in this together, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Happy Halloween to everyone. I'm very excited to introduce you all with the new staff members who have joined our team. Yeneso, Anastasia, and Alicia have joined us as elder care assistant in assisted living. Kimberly Thomas, Billy Morrison also joined us as elder care assistant in assisted living. Siri joined us as a life enrichment associate in activities group. Ahmad Abdullah, Sita It, and Kim Hong Yuan joined us in dining services. Please help us welcome our new staff as you walk around by them. Next step is promotions. Rian McAllister was promoted to Director of Life Enrichment, and Riza Ransom was promoted to Events and Operation Manager. Right here in this room with us. Congratulations, Riza. Now I will turn it over to Mike for CEO updates. Thank you.
Thanks, Conti. You know, as much as this is when people come up and do their presentations, they're sharing information. I'm just reminded at the quality of professional staff we have. I mean, just everybody. I don't mean professional as in just like this group over here. Is everybody through the organization is really professional, and it's really impressive to see the work that people do on behalf of residents. And I know to Elizabeth's point, you know, that is recognized and acknowledged, but it's just a nice reminder every time we have these meetings, we realize what good people we have here. Hey, yes, a hand for that. Okay, well, this is exciting. We are going to resume small group sessions and do these in person so we can start getting around the circle as we've had them in the past and have a number of sessions where we can gather people and we can cover topics of interest and importance to residents. We may have a few things that we'll want to share, but a lot of it is really dedicated to answering the questions that you might have that are on your mind. So look forward for those opportunities coming up here in the next week. It's a great way to communicate, you know, one more method in which we try to connect with residents and understand and listen and hopefully share important stuff. Let's see, the next thing is the flu vaccination reminder. Horizon House, you know, works with Bartels to and has had, you know, 2 of the sessions for vaccinations. We're at over 68% vaccinated on the flu side. Seems like all we talk about now is vaccinations, right? You know, I just got my booster shot. That was good, and you know, I think I'm fully vaccinated now. I think the only one that has more vaccinations than me is my dog. But we're closing in on it. I still need to get my distemper shot, but once I get that, then I'm good to go. Let the clinic know when you have received it, so we can get you on the statistics to show that you've completed yours. Okay, let's see what else we have. I want to mention one thing that on the promotion side, it wasn't mentioned that Jeff, who was just up here on food service, has been promoted from the dining room manager to the assistant director of food service, and it's well deserved. So thank you, Jeff. Good for you. So the past president's lunch, you know, this is a long tradition we've had at Horizon House where we bring back past presidents of the Residents Council and of the board to kind of share the story of where Horizon House is at this point in time. And all the participants love to come and hear about the progress. And, you know, we all stand on the shoulders of others. And these were people who all, during their time, made important decisions, advanced the organization forward, and they had a very vested interest in how we're doing. And this session, you know, we didn't get to do it in person last year. We had to do it on Zoom. This time it was in person. And people love to hear the story. They love to see the progress. They love to know that they have invested their time and effort in something that continues to move forward in a really constructive way. So it was a lot of fun. It was well attended, and that's just a great tradition that we have here. Let's see, future topics. You know, we do welcome when you come through with ideas and things that you want to know something more about. You know, we put together these agendas based on what we think we need to share, but we like it when you say, hey, why don't you talk more about this or more about that, so that it gives increased meaning to these sessions. So please chime in with things that you want to know more about. If they don't fit within a fireside chat, then we find another way in which they fit so we can get it on the list. And let's see, the next fireside chat is going to be Friday, December 3rd. Can you believe we're talking about December? I mean, yikes, the year has gone by pretty quickly. I think we have some Halloween related things happening today. So, you know, be on the lookout for ghouls, okay? Ghouls. There will be plenty around, I'm sure. That's another fun thing we do here too. So hopefully you'll have a chance to enjoy a little bit of that. And I think that is about it. So hopefully you've had a good time here, and we look forward to interacting with you later today with our Halloween type stuff. And yes, there's a question over there. John?
Last night at the front desk, I overheard someone say to a phone call that the events are starting at 1 o'clock. I was aware that the parade is starting at 2 o'clock. Is there something different starting at 1 o'clock, or when should people be showing up down here? Is there any official Halloween scheduler to know?
It's 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock,
is
so
the-
nothing is happening.
Nothing's
at 1
happening at
o'clock.
1. I'm sure something's happening at 1, but I don't know about it.
Not Halloween related. Thank
Right,
you.
not Halloween related. Okay, any other quick comments, questions? Yes, Ina?
When Priscilla was talking, the services that she is suggesting providing, are they fee-based or are they just classes?
Yeah, those are from Infinity Rehab, and my understanding is those are things that would be worked through. Sometimes they're Medicare or Medicare services, but I'm sure that they can be worked out if for whatever reason something's not covered by Medicare. But I know a lot of people use Infinity, and they're a great service provider, and a lot of it is Medicare covered. So.
Just a question, do the Morrison employees also get reimbursed in the employees' rate?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just because we might have another partner delivering services, we look at everybody who provides services here as, you know, members of our staff. We don't discriminate there. Everybody who serves our residents are included in this. Yep. Okay, anything else? Thank you for attending. Good to see you all here, and we'll have some more fun this afternoon.